Second line. And there are First actually is this number 12, okay? Number 12, page number 12. Now number 10, the short mandala. Saji Buju Choshin Medoja Rira Liji Nide Jemban Sanje Shindo Mide Mpuai Droga Nanda Shinda Jumura Isho 21 Semjen Namji Samba Dhang Zoye Shira Chedarawa Chejon Tumon Tebai Chuji Korlo Kordo So Baldunda Namarum Bajay Jurve Menden Nagarin Jurve Bozon Dojin Uru Zangdo So Ominjinji Parane, Dusum Sanjagon Jong, Ransom Jong, and Savela Mishala Janzalo Tangu Shajaras, Jiji Meda de Japan, Passage, and Boda Jibu, Shaji Bishala Janzalo Okay, so we continue from today morning. Now, as we were going through the four dharmas of Gampopa, so the first, again, if I say, grant a blessing so that my mind may turn towards the Dharma. So here when we say Dharma, it is the profound Dharma or the sacred Dharma. So for this, and then the contemplating on the four reminders is very important. So four reminders, as I said, the precious human life, the impermanence, karma, cause and condition, and the samsara, the nature of samsara. To have a clear understanding on this and to have a genuine feeling of this is very important. And through that, then one develops a genuine wish to attain the realization and the renunciation to this samsara. So when that happens, then one genuinely wishes to take refuge in the precious Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, recognizing that that is the genuine source through which one can attain the complete realization or the freedom from the sufferings. So with that, then one turns one's mind towards the Dharma. Then the second, which is grant a blessing so that Dharma may progress along the path. So even after one turns one's mind towards the Dharma, then in the path, while practicing the Dharma, then one can experience obstacles, etc. So in order for one to overcome such obstacles and for one to be able to develop the right conditions for one's practice to go well, then accumulation of merit is very important. Purification of karma is very important. So for that, then the most profound practice of accumulation of merit is the practice of limitless loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta, and the practice of the developing the thought of the well-being of others. So that is very important. So the practice of loving kindness, compassion, and then with that, then practice such as the Vajrasattva practice, the Mandala practice, and all these different practices are very important. So that is the so through these, then one creates the right conditions and removes all the obstacles to one's practice. So that way, one's Dharma practice progresses along the path. And now, the third phrase or the sentence, which says, "Lam tulpar shikpar shinjalabdusol," which means grant your blessing so that the path may clarify confusion. So now this is the main practice, or the main body of the practice, and that is the practice of meditation. So as I said, the entire teaching of the Buddha can be summarized into or put together in two kind of practice, and that is the shamatha and vipassana meditation. So in brief, meditation. And from meditation, then the shamatha and vipassana meditation. Now shamatha meditation is this what it says here, to clarify confusion. So in order to clarify confusion, we need to first achieve a calm, stable mind. Without a calm, stable mind, then everything is confused. So, for example, if I give you like the water on the riverbed, on the river, so when it's raining, stormy, then the water is very rough. So when the water is very rough, one cannot see through the water, because it's too much, happening in the water, and nothing is clear, so that way. But when it is a clear day, when there's no disturbance to the water, when the water is calm, and then when all the particles settle at the bottom of the river, then the water becomes very clear. You can see through everything. You can see the fish swimming around. You can see the different colors of the pebbles. You can see the sand. You can see everything very clearly. So like that. So our mind is also just now confused with all these thoughts. All these created through the afflictive emotions, such as attachment, or greed, then jealousy, ego, anger, hatred, so like this, so all these kind of thoughts that confuses our mind to think clearly. So I give you another example. It is said, that nowadays in the world, one most famous problem is stress. Everybody has stress. So the scientists or the doctors, they did a research on this, and they found that almost about 80 to 90% of the the so-called reasoning of this stress was like an illusion, just created by the mind, thought, and there was no ground, reality ground to that. Only maybe 5-10% of it had to do something with the problem, and that also not really impossible to solve problem, so that way, but our mind is so confused that these emotions, afflictive emotions, overtake our mind, and then and then add to the situation, and blind the confuse the situation, and make it something that is not, and so like that, then we get involved, or we get drowned into this illusion, and through that then we experience great stress or suffering or whatever. But if we learn to see the situation as it is, without such confusion, or getting drowned by such confusion, and then most of the time it is most of the time the problem is solved there itself. We can solve the problem. And so that is what it means, that we are confused that way when our mind is not at rest. When it is when there's no clarity, then this happens. So when it is influenced by the afflictive emotions all the time, and through our habit, this thing has happened. So now, so here in the path to enlightenment, as I said, we are trying to develop the wisdom to realize the emptiness, or the limitless potential, or the ultimate truth. So for that, then naturally, we need a mind which is with clarity, which is calm, which is abiding, so that way so here, then this kind of a meditation is called the shamatha meditation. So shamatha meditation in Tibetan means shine. Shi means to calm, to calm, or to pacify, calm. Ne means to remain. So to remain calm, remain in the state of calm, clarity. So shine. So that is the meditation. So when we are able to do that, so through this, then we are able to direct the mind, calm the mind with clarity, and through that clarity, then gain ability over the mind to direct the mind to whichever direction we want to, focus on and work with. So make the mind workable. Right now, our mind is not very workable. It is very confused. So now, so this next says that. Grant a blessing so that the path may clarify confusion. So this confusion. So the path, as I said, we can clarify the confusion because confusion is not the essence, or confusion is not the essence of who we are. Or our mind, the essence of the mind is not confusion. Like the sun and the cloud. Sun, the essence of sun is light and warmth. But like today, we cannot see the sun, we cannot feel the warmth. But that doesn't mean that the sun has lost its light or the warmth. But because of the cloud, temporarily is obscured. It obscures the warmth and the light of the sun. But cloud is temporary. So tomorrow or later, when the cloud disperses, then the light is always there as it is. The sun, the warmth is always there as it is. So because the sun, its light and warmth is its essence, when the cloud disperses, then it shines as it is. So therefore, in the same way, our essence, our mind, the essence of the mind is clarity. The essence of the mind is calm. The essence of the mind is aware. The essence of the mind is mindful. So this is the essence of the mind. Confusion is not the essence of the mind. Knowing is the essence of the mind. Rigpa, we say, the clarity, the luminosity. So that is the essence of the mind. So that is why, and then by such practicing such meditation, then we can achieve that. If the essence of the mind was dull, if the essence of the mind was confusion, if the essence of the mind was such, then no matter how much practice we do, no matter what we do, we will not be able to achieve that. So this is the biggest proof that our mind is pure at all times. It is perfect at all times. It is luminous at all times. It is all-knowing at all times. And another proof is, we have the ability to learn anything, know anything, because that is the essence of the mind. Otherwise we would not be able to know anything or learn anything. So if we put effort, we can know anything or learn anything, because the mind, the essence of the mind is, knowing. It is luminosity, it is clarity. So now, in such, in order to now realize that, then first step is we need to have a stable mind, a calm mind, a workable mind. So for this, then practice of the shamatha meditation is very important. And shamatha meditation, now there are so many. Some of you have already been doing shamatha meditation. So we have. And many people think, that shamatha meditation, after we do certain amount, it is enough, so you finish and then you go to the next. But actually, shamatha we continue to do all the time, till we attain complete realization. Shamatha is important, we need to do shamatha. Without a good shamatha, then clarity in the realization of the emptiness is not possible. So vipassana is not possible without shamatha. So if shamatha is very good, vipassana gradually develops from shamatha. So vipassana is the insight into the realization of the emptiness, understanding of the emptiness. So that is possible only through the shamatha meditation. So here, then shamatha meditation, there are many, actually, if when we, as I said, the very nature of the mind is awareness, and if we are able to maintain awareness and rest in this awareness itself, so if we are able to do that, then through this itself, it is self. We say this is self-liberation. So that, since that is the essence of the mind, it realizes itself and liberates itself that way. So if we are able to rest in the very nature of the mind, the awareness by itself that way. But because we have been so habituated to this subject, object, action, etc., so it is difficult for us to just rest in that kind of awareness, just like that. So then we take help of something, so that we can do this. And that is why we have these methods, such as taking the help of a breath, taking the help of an external object, any object, so this way. So for example, when we use our breath, then we rest our mind on the breath, and this resting the mind on the breath, we are aware of this, we remain aware of this, and just so that way, using the breath as a source for us to rest the mind on, be aware of that, then that is, so that way we do the shamatha meditation. So that way, there's you here doing the meditation, there's the breath, on which you rest the mind on, and then there's the action of resting the mind. So that way, so there's, because we are so used to this, so we use this, and then gradually through that, then resting on the awareness, being in the awareness. So when we are able to do that more and more and more, then gradually when we are able to do that, so through this awareness, which is the nature of the mind, then by itself, then we realize the nature of the mind, which is the self-luminosity, self, so that way. So now, so that is one, resting on the breath. Then external object, whatever object you take, you can, rest in, you can focus on that object and then rest in that. Or you can, like for example, the five senses, so sight, you can rest on an object. Then hearing, on a sound, you can rest. Then the smell, you can, smell, rest on the smell of something. Then the taste, you can taste something and then the rest in that, and then the touch, the feeling, so you can rest in that. For example, feeling, so here when I say rest on the very, feeling doesn't mean rest with awareness, doesn't mean examining the feeling. It's the very sensation itself, the very experience of that, that itself is the awareness. And so being aware of that. For example, today the weather, supposing the wind is blowing, and then the cold. So this cold or hot is a sensation, so it is a sensation that we describe, cold or hot. So that is not what we are talking here. It is the very sensation, whether it's hot or cold, the feeling, the experience, the sensation itself. So that is the awareness. So aware, when we experience that, remain in that, be aware of that. So that is the awareness. So awareness is not, the cold or the hot. It is the experience of, this very feeling. That is the awareness. For example, breath. When we are resting on the breath, is not, whether the breath is cold or hot, whether the breath is long or short, whether the breath is, uniform or not, whether, strong or light. So that is not what we are resting on. The awareness is the very breath itself, going in and out, the being aware of this breath itself, so resting on the breath, so that is the awareness, And so here, so that way, and then we have we have this shamatha meditation, different kind of meditation. So we will do maybe a few of that, and then one meditation which is very useful is reciting something in your mind. Because when we recite loudly or do something, we can get distracted easily. But when you are reading with mind, then we are somewhat forced to be aware of it. Because if we are distracted, if our mind is not attentive, then how do we read with the mind? So the mind needs to be attentive to do something. So we read in mind and then be aware of that. So that is a very good way of doing such meditation also, so that we we can do some. And then also here, when we do such meditation, and now thoughts, as I said, we are confused with thoughts all the time. So, and the thought itself is empty by nature. It is just illusion created. What is a thought? Thought is either it is a past thought, present thought, or a future thought, right? So when you say that, then what is past thought? A past thought is no more there; it's gone. It's no more here. So it is, it is an illusion, not there. Then future thought is also an illusion, because future thought is not there. You create the thought, so it's not there. So now it boils down to the present thought. And what is present thought? If you examine, the moment you say present, it's already future, it's already past or future. If you really examine, break up the present is nothing but past and future. So that way, if you really examine, you will not find a present, because it is just a illusion. So that way, when we really examine that way, so past, present, and future is an illusion. So the thought of past, present, and future is an illusion. So in this sense, yet in this illusion we are confused. So through confusion we are lost in this. So here, but saying that when we do such meditation, then these thoughts appear, and when it appears, normally what we do is we then give support to the thought. We give support to the thought and then wander in the thought. And when we wander in the thought, then we get lost. And then, as I say, with emotions, then it creates more and more problem. And then that is like we say jumping into the river. Thoughts are like river, current, strong river of current. And then, so when we get involved with the thought and then immersed into the thought, the illusion, and then which, as I say, stress. We stress, and then the thought creates. Oh, this is a really bad stress. Oh, I have this, I have that. Why me? Why not? Others, and then why it's happening like this? Why? And then most of the, as the researchers have found out, that it is an illusion. It is an illusion. Thought created. Thoughts creating. Things which is not there. So like that. So that is getting into the river. It's like jumping into the river. So we are being carried away, and we lose our control. So it is like that. Now, as a meditator, we don't jump into the river. So we don't need to block the river. Because it's very, it's next to impossible to block the river. So we don't need to block the thought. Because when we try to block the thought, then that is another thought again. Actually, we are creating another thought to block the thought. So it is extra thought. So instead of doing that, what we do is we just, rest in whatever we are doing, and we don't entertain the thought. We let the thought come and let the thought, remain as it is, but don't jump into the thought. So that is like sitting away from the river. So you are on the river bank watching the river. So if you do that, then no matter how much thought arises, it's not going to harm you. In fact, it becomes a source of your, it becomes like a benefit to your practice, they say, if you know how to use the thought. For example, fire. When you make a fire, wood, we use the wood, to make fire. So if we know how to use the wood to make the fire, then if we have lots of wood and put the wood, fire becomes very big. But if we don't know how to use the wood, then if we put too much wood on the fire, then this very source which makes the fire will extinguish the fire. So like that. So the thoughts, if we don't know how to cope with the thought, then we get carried away, drowned in the thought, then that becomes a problem for us. But if we know how to use them, if we learn to just watch the thought, then it becomes, the thought has nowhere but to dissolve into the emptiness itself, because it appears from the emptiness, it dissolves into the emptiness. It is an illusion, so it is an emptiness, so it dissolves into the emptiness. So that way, if you don't label it, and if you don't create, extra power to the thought, so that way, so we are always having thought, but we learn to, rest in whatever we are doing without getting distracted by the thought. And when we do this meditation, such meditation, because we are so habituated to this, we will realize that we are lost in thought again. And so when we are lost in thought, suddenly when we realize that we are lost in thought, we are back to awareness, because we have realized it, we are lost. So the moment we realize we are lost, we are in awareness. And again, we try to maintain the awareness, and remain in awareness. And as doing that, again, we'll recognize we are lost. Again, when we recognize we are lost, again back to awareness, so remain that way. So that way we do again and again and again. So, so this is one meditation. Then the other meditation is thought. So when we are lost into the thought, so instead of, now, then we just learn to observe the thought. Observe the thought doesn't mean jump into the thought, doesn't mean create more thoughts, but rather just let the thoughts appear. No need to try and block the thought, no need to try and create the thought. Just rest in that. Just be aware of that. More thoughts come, be aware of that. No thoughts come, be aware of that. Less thoughts come, be aware of that. So as long as you are aware of that, then that is meditation. That is the core of meditation. Meditation means awareness, being awareness and mindfulness. So that is meditation. So trying to stop thought is not meditation. Trying to have no thought is not meditation. Awareness is the meditation. So if the thoughts are there, if you are aware of that, that is meditation. If no thought is there, you are aware of that, that is meditation. And sometimes when you do that, then there will be sometimes stages where you are unable to describe or say like this or like that. You are in a state of not able to pinpoint or say like this or like that. And if that happens, then be aware of that. And then if you are aware of that, that is meditation. You are resting. They say what is it? Free from reference point, they say. So you reach a stage where you're free from any kind of a reference point of like this or like that. So if that happens, then rest in that. That is very good. So you rest in that. That is also mindfulness and awareness. You rest in that. And then so like that. So these are the different methods of meditation. So now when we do the meditation, then like for example the shamatha meditation, like posture, it is said if one can maintain posture, it is very important, because the postures have many benefits. For example, our body is, it has many channels in them, and the channels, through the channels the energy circulates or passes. And when the channels are not clear, then the afflictive emotions arise. Whereas when the channels are clear, then when the energy is able to pass, in balance well, then the emotions automatically subdued. They are subdued. And when the emotions are subdued, then the confusion is automatically subdued. So therefore, and then when it is perfectly balanced, then in that, then it is said that these confusions are completely, pacified, and that is, so one can even attain enlightenment through perfect posture, they say. But of course, to have such posture, it is a different thing. But for our level, if we maintain certain posture, then through those postures we can achieve some level of ability over our emotions. So here, for example, it says the first is the leg. When we keep our leg crossed, so of course now some can sit cross legs, some cannot. So if you cannot, you cannot. But if you can, and then the benefits, it says that through sitting in a cross leg, then it minimizes our afflictive emotion, jealousy. Why? Because it balances our the element, the air, the air aspect, and through that, then it so it balances our air element, and through that, then our afflictive emotion, jealousy, is minimized. Then the second is the hands. So hands, normally we put the left over the the right over the left, and then very relaxed on on the palm, on the lap, on the lap. So we sit this way. So this, what it does is, it says it balances our water aspect of our element, and through that, then it minimizes our afflictive emotion, anger or hatred. So it balances that. And then back straight. Our back should be straight. Our shoulders relaxed. So the shoulders should be relaxed, not slouching, nor is it like tight. So very relaxed and back straight this way. So by doing such, then what it does is it balances the earth, the earth aspect of element, and through that then minimizes our afflictive emotion of the ignorance. So, for example, ignorance is, we relate ignorance with dullness, and no clarity. So a person who is dull, no clarity, means person who's sleepy. So when you are slouching like this, person who's slouching is naturally not fresh. Is dull, sleepy, right? So what do we do? If we want to be fresh, we try to stay up. When we stay up, automatically it lifts us. We are automatically fresh. So that is a slight example. So when we sit up, automatically we are bright, fresh. So that is so. Now, then the next is our head. The position of the head should be relaxed. So when it's kept relaxed, it's there's a slight bend in our how do you say, the chin. So this way, so not up, not down like this, just relaxed. So very comfortably, and just kept relaxed, and with that way. And then so when we do that, then it through this kind of a posture, then it balances our fire aspect of element, and it minimizes the afflictive emotion of attachment. So attachment. Now the next is the eyes. The focus of the eye should be, of course, in very some of the traditional texts it says here, but that's a little too much right now. I feel this way is the best, like in the Mahamudra text also it says around arm's length, around here, around here, this distance. So if you keep your focus around here, very relaxed focus. So relaxed doesn't mean not like very tight focus, not here very tight focus, not no tension like that. It's very relaxed, focusing like a very panoramic, very relaxed kind of focus here. So when our focus is around here, that way, and then our eyes are all relaxed, and then our mouth, its jaws are relaxed. So when the jaws are relaxed, there's natural, slight gap in our lips, and teeth. There's a natural gap, not opening completely, but not closing tightly. So very relaxed, kept. So this kind of a posture, then what it does is it balances the space aspect, of the element, and it minimizes our ego pride. So ego pride. So that way. So in this way, so we can see now that when we maintain such posture, then it is able to minimize our such afflictive emotions through balancing the elements. So like this, so with that kind of a posture, then when we use the breath, then we when we breathe out, in. So there's two ways of counting. One is when you breathe out, then there's a gap there before you breathe in, and then there's a gap there before you breathe out. Gap or pause. So if there's no pause, how do you breathe in and out? So we are aware of all four stages: breath going out, breath pause, breath coming in, breath pause. So that is the counting method that is taught in the Mahamudra Ocean of Certainty. And then normally one can also, if that is too difficult, then breath going out, breath coming in, just these two. One can be aware of that also. The breath going out, breath coming in, breath going out, breath coming in. So that way, and one can breathe through both nose and mouth together. So some say out through nose, in through mouth, like this. But here one can do both together simultaneously, comfortably. That way you can do. So when we do that, we just rest our awareness on the breath, just resting, using the breath as the source of source for our mind to just rest on. That's it. So nothing more, nothing less. No need to examine the breath. No need to try to make the breath long. No need to try to make the breath short. No need to do anything like that. Just rest on the breath. To be aware of this breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in. So that way, and in that process, then thoughts appear. When the thoughts appear, we realize we are lost. The moment we realize that, we are back to awareness. Then bring back to the thought of breathing. Again, awareness of breathing. Then again, as we do that, our thoughts disappear. Again, bring back. So that way we do again and again. So first, we try to do this as few times to get comfortable. Then after that, we can do 21 breath cycle. They say, out in 1, out in 2, out in 3. So we try to do that way 21 times without stopping. And then after reaching 21, then again relax for some time. So when I say relax, doesn't mean completely let go of everything. It means when you do out in, then that with awareness and mindfulness, you are able to obtain some level of calm, abiding state. And in that calm, abiding state, then when you relax, means not hold onto this the visualization anymore, and just rest in that calm, abiding state. Just maintain that calm, abiding state. Rest for a while. Then after some time, again you can start. The breath, awareness on the breath, going, coming, 21 times. Again rest for a while. Again do 21. So that way you can do 21 times 3 times. Or you can do 1 time. So in the beginning, maybe 1 time, do nicely, and then rest. Then gradually, 21 times you can do 3 times, and then 7 times, so gradually, But it is not the how much you do, it is the quality that you do is very important. But again, when you practice, it's very important to not not work yourself up so much to have such a perfect practice that you will not be able to relax. So that is the biggest problem of all new meditation practitioners. They want to have such a perfect meditation that trying to have a perfect meditation, they are not able to have a meditation, because they are trying too hard. So meditate means you have to let go, relax. And so that's the most important. But when you are trying to achieve a result, so with so much eagerness, then that itself becomes the obstacle to your practice. So when you practice, just to practice as it is. No need to no need to try and achieve a perfect meditation, because as I said, that past, present, future is an illusion. So future good practice, trying to have a good practice, that is an illusion. It is just another thought. So we are trying to be free from that, and then creating another is an obstacle to the practice. So we don't try to do that. And also the past, whatever experience one has had in the past, that is past. That is also an illusion. We don't try to do. We don't try to reflect on that. Just at the present, whatever do as supposed to do with awareness and mindfulness. That's it. So we try to do this. So when we are doing that, then so this is what in the instruction it says: don't ponder and follow the past. So as I said, past. Past means past thoughts. Or yesterday I did like that. I did a good session, so I hope today I'm going to achieve that good session again today and improve on that. Or yesterday I did a bad session, I hope today again I'm not going to have that kind of a bad session, or like that, so all these kind of thoughts, past thoughts. So it's just a thought, illusion, so don't get distracted by that, don't get influenced by that, so don't ponder upon the past thoughts. And it says, don't invite and think about the future thoughts. As I said, future thought is also an illusion. So future is yet, so it's not there. So thinking of the future is creating another thought. So here we don't do that. So future thought is, I hope I have a good meditation, or after this I'm going to do this meditation for this many hours or this many minutes, or I will do like this, like that. So that is all thoughts. So in the moment when you're meditating, you just meditate. No need to be free of all that. Then putting the timer there and then constantly checking, whether it's the right time for me to now end my meditation. Then your mind is always on the time. It's not here. So that is an obstacle. So it doesn't matter. You are early by a few minutes or late by a few minutes. So what matters? As long as you are able to rest in awareness, that is what is important. So don't get distracted by such things. So don't invite and think about the future. Then it says, remain in the present state with awareness and clarity. So remaining in this present, what you are doing. So mindful, for example, breath. Then being in the moment, aware of the breath, and mindfully with awareness. So awareness means, you're aware of this, being aware of the breath, going, coming, resting on this. And then when you're aware, then mindfulness is there. Mindfulness means being able to do what you are able to do. And so when you are aware, then you are able to mindfully, direct your mind to the awareness. So that is mindfulness. So mindfulness and awareness, you do that. So that is how we do the meditation. And when mind is distracted by a thought, then we are aware again. As soon as we are aware, then mindfully we bring it back to the what we are supposed to do, which is rest on the breath. Then again we lose our track, we lost. Again when we are lost, we realize that, again recognize, bring back mindfully and focus, and do awareness on what we are doing. So that's it. And no need to worry about, I lost my mindfulness, and now what to do, I'm losing too much. As I say, it's illusion. Lost is gone. It's illusion. What's the use of thinking about it? It's not going to benefit in any way. Nor is it going to harm in any way, because it's gone. As the moment you are aware of that itself is the benefit. So the moment you are aware that you have lost your thought, you have lost into the thought, that itself is awareness. That itself is the benefit. So then there's no more to think about, I was so mindful till now. I was so, lost till now. What should I do? Or feeling dejected, feeling demoralized. That's illusion. And that's another thought which is illusion. That is no use. So that is what it is saying. We shouldn't ponder upon the past. We shouldn't ponder upon the future. The present is the important. So present, the awareness. So the moment you are aware of that itself is awareness. That itself is the most meaningful thing. So maintain again awareness. That's it. So as long as you do that, that is meditation. So for meditation, even if you are lost 100 times, doesn't matter. If you are, you are lost 100 times, you are found 100 times. So you are aware 100 times. So when you are aware 100 times, that is good. So the main thing is to be aware. So when you are aware, don't get lost again into the past or future. So try to maintain the awareness. Try to maintain this. So that is how we meditate. So we will do the meditation, okay? So now, normally, of course, if you are old practitioner or one who has been doing, who has been a Buddhist for some time and do the refuge bodhicitta prayer like this, then it is good to do a refuge and bodhicitta in the beginning, and because through that, what happens is, through the refuge, one is able to develop a genuine sense of, genuine sense of pureness, because when you take refuge, and then when you take refuge to the Buddha Dharma Sangha, you are taking refuge because of understanding the quality of that. And when you understand the quality of that, you are genuinely, devoted. You are genuinely, devotion. You develop genuine devotion to that. In the state of devotion, then automatically there cannot be ego. There cannot be ego problem. There cannot be jealousy problem. There cannot be, and all these are, the confusion that creates so much problem for us. So when we are able to develop a genuine, devotion, when you are able to develop a genuine purity of that kind of a thought, then that automatically subdues our, these negative, afflictive emotions. So then automatically we are able to, develop, peace, and because that is our nature. Our nature, the nature of the mind is free from such. Free from such afflictive emotions. These are just, confusion, just illusion. So through that kind of a channeling, then we are able to, develop, or we are able to somehow manifest this very essence of, our nature. And in that, then when we, do such meditation, then it becomes very profound meditation. It becomes, first of all, it will become a very, profound meditation. It will become a meditation more easier, to do such meditation, because that already is subdued our afflictive emotions, confusions. And in that, then we are doing meditation of resting the mind, then it is easier naturally. So that way it is very profound to do such. For those who are new, who don't understand refuge or like this, then just to remain calm for a while is very important. Not just do something and suddenly sit down and start doing meditation, then it's very difficult in the mind to rest. So just resting the mind for a while, spending some time to just relax and rest is very important. The body and mind both is connected to each other. So we try to relax our body, and then through that we will be able to relax our mind to a certain degree. And through that, then if we do the meditation, we will be able to do well. So that is why, so here, we will do one time refuge and bodhicitta, and then, because of time, and then with that, after that, then, or we will, first we just rest for a while, and then after resting, then we will do refuge bodhicitta, and after that, then we will do our meditation, 21 breathing, session, and after that, then we do the dedication. So dedication again is very important, because when we do dedication, then, this merit that we accumulate through such practice, when we dedicate for all beings, then it is, you are dividing your merit for all beings. So when you divide for all beings, then it is, it cannot be exhausted, because beings are limitless. So when the merit is divided limitlessly, your merit is never exhausting. If you keep it only for oneself, it exhausts because it's just one. So like that. So and that is, there's a saying, right? Don't keep your eggs in one basket or something like that, right? So something like that. Don't keep your eggs in one basket or something like that. There's a saying like that, I think, right? Or something like that. I don't know whether I got. So which basically means, you shouldn't keep everything in one, because if something happens to that, then it's gone, So you should, divide everywhere so that, if one is gone, others are there. So of course that is, it's just I think, but basically, so that, when we keep all merit for ourselves, only what happens is, then it is singular. So if a negative thought comes, that negative thought can corrupt the merit. Whereas when we dedicate for all beings, then it is already dedicated and already distributed for all beings, and all beings are limitless. It transforms into limitless, merit. And when the merit is limitless, then the the efficiency is of course limitless. So that way, then even if sometimes we are not perfect. So sometimes when we have some kind of a negative thought, then it does not corrupt the merit. So that way, then it is very important to dedicate a merit. So at the end we do the dedication of the merit. So here now, first we just learn to relax. So when we relax, as I said, our body, our mind and body is connected. So we try to relax all the muscles in our body, and through that, then we relax the mind. So, for example, right from the one good way of doing this is by scanning ourselves. Right from the crown till our, the forehead, the eye muscles, then the nose, mouth, ears, neck, shoulders, back, chest, so lower body, like the hips, glutes, the thighs, knees, calves, feet. So that way, all one by one we try to scan, and then as we scan them, we learn to relax them, and we think that they are completely relaxed, and that way we relax. Okay, so we start from the crown down, as I said, and we breathe normally. We can have a deep breath in and then a deep breath out. So that way, as we breathe in and then as we breathe out, we relax all the muscles. Just let go of everything. As you scan, relax all the muscles. When we're doing this, we can keep our eyes closed and do. Normally when you're doing yourself, till you are completely relaxed, you remain this way. And then gradually we put our hands in the supplication mudra, and then we do the refuge one time. Sangji chudang choji chonam la chanju pardu dane jazo nji dagi jinso jibe sunam ji rolam penjir sanjin rumparisho. Now we keep our hands in the meditative mudra and do the four limitless thought one time. Semjen hamje dewa dan deve jodha dembaran churje dongha je jodha charan churje dongha mebe dewa damba zang mendawaran churje niren chadang nipan chave tanyan chenpola neparan churje. So if you're comfortable keeping your eyes closed, you can continue to keep closed. But if you are comfortable keeping your eyes a little open, you can keep your eyes open also. So now gradually we do the resting on the breath, aware of the breath. So as we breathe out, then breathe in. So that is one. So we are aware of this mindfully. No need to examine the breath, but just aware of this. We are lost, doesn't matter. The moment we realize we are lost, again we are back to awareness and come back to the breath. Try to breathe normally, very calmly. No need to force yourself to any kind of breathing. Just breathe complete, normal, gentle, as normal as possible. Maintain our back straight, but with a relaxed posture. No need to tense, just relaxed yet with some effort. Now we just let go of the visualization or in the breath, and then just relax in this state of calm abiding state. Just relax in that for a while. If you wish, you can also place your palms over your knees, or you can remain in the meditative mudra, whichever. session of the breathing shamatha. We rest our mind on the breath and be aware of that with mindfulness and awareness. Okay, now we again relax as previously for a while. Okay. One last time, we do the 21 breathing again one more time. Okay, now can we relax for a little while? Maintaining this calm, abiding state, in this relaxed state of mind. So continuing with this when we do the dedication. So page number, let's do this, page number 34. Number 34, okay? Gewa de nyurdo da chaja chembo dubjurane drowa chijang maluba te sala gumbarasho. One meditation. So now, any questions? Anyone have any questions? No question? Good. Okay. Then, now the second, let us do one more meditation. Here what we will do is, as I said, we will try to, everybody can remember Om Ahung. Om, can you repeat Om Ahung? Okay. Om Ahung. Om Ahung. Okay. So Om Ahung is it is the syllable of the blessings of the enlightened Buddha's body, speech, and mind blessing. Okay, so Om normally represents the body, A represents the speech, and Hung represents the mind. So Om Ahung represents the body, speech, and mind of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So here, when we do the the meditation, and then what we do is, when we say Om, as we breathe in, we don't say with the sound, with mentally. So mentally you can say Om, right? So when we breathe in you think Om. As you breathe in through mouth and nose both, or on your nose, So when you breathe in Om, and with that you think you're receiving all the blessings of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, then as you keep the breath in you, you say Ah with your mind, okay? And when you do that, then you visualize that all your body, speech and mind is blessed by the blessings of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And Hung, then when you breathe out Hung. Okay? You say the Hung, but not loudly in your mind as you breathe out. And when you do that, then you think all the negative karma, obscuration, everything is purified. And so that way. So when you breathe in and think all the, with the Om, you think all the blessings of the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas you receive. Ah, then you absorb all the blessings. And then Hung, then with that all your negative karma, obscuration is purified. So that way, when you breathe in Om, Ah, Hung. Om, Ah, Hung. Om, Ah, Hum. Okay? So when you do that, try to do in the same proportion, Om, Ah, Hum, Om, Ah, Hum. So like that. So you with awareness, because you're doing with mind. So mentally, all that, as you do. First, if it's difficult, you just think Om Ahum. Then gradually you adopt the visualization and understanding that I told you. So all that you have to do with awareness, right? If there's no awareness, how do you think? How do you do all that? So with awareness, with mindfulness, you do this, and you remain in this and continue doing this. Okay? So we will do that for a while. So again, same. Normally, you start with refuge, bodhicitta. First relax for a while, then refuge, bodhicitta, then you do this, and after you do this, then the dedication. So all your practice, you can do that way. Okay. Okay. So again, we just relax for a while. Here we will just relax for a while, but normally when you do as we did that time, if you scan the entire body, and as you scan you relax muscles, we mentally, so that way mind and body connection, as I said, is there, so you will be able to relax. Okay. So just take a deep breath, and as you let go of the breath, you will relax all the muscles of your body. Okay. And let us do the refuge. Everybody know, right? Sanje chudan soje chonam la chanjo bardo dane chazon je dage jenzon jebe sanan je dolan penshir sanje dromar shu. Now we do the limitless thoughts. O simjin thamji devadan devin judan dembaran churji dongadan dongalanji judan trawaran churji dongamebe deva tambadan Mindavaran Churji Niren Chadan Nidan Tave Tanyam Chembola Nemburan Churji. Okay, now as I said, we do the Ahum mentally. As you breathe in, mentally you say Om. As you hold your breath, you say Ah. As you breathe out, you say Hum. Again, like that, and you just relax for a while. And then we do the dedication now. Page number 34, same, 34. Gewa de nyardo na chaja chembo ndojurane do jija male bande salang baisho. Okay. So that was also in our shamatha practice. And there are, as I said, many ways of shamatha meditation, like object meditation. So you take an object. Object can be ordinary and sacred. Ordinary is like any pebble or any stone, like anything like wood or whatever. And then sacred is like taking up Buddha's image, or looking at a tanka, the painting of the Buddha's image, like that. So you can take that as a reference for our mind to rest on, and then with awareness, we just rest on that. So that is object. And then sound, of course, we hear so many sound that we can hear and that we cannot hear. So we just first rest on general, sound. Then after resting on the general sound, then if there's any particular sound, that is, we can, hear, then we just be aware of that sound, and then from that awareness, so maintain that, the sound as the reference point for our mind to rest on. That is the sound meditation. Then smell, so the smell all the time. So, so whatever smell, we just smell, and then whatever smell we can get, we can use that as a reference point for our mind to rest on. Then taste also same. And then if you are eating something, even if you are not eating something, if you're just aware of the taste, then there's so many tastes in the mouth. So you just rest on any taste in the mouth and just maintain that with awareness. And then the feel or the touch or the sensation, as I said, then we rest on the sensation. Just aware of the sensation. The experience, the one experiencing, so being aware of that. Not the experience itself, but the one being aware of the experience and the one experiencing it. So that experience, just be aware of that, which is free of any categorization of this or that. So being aware of the sensation itself. That is sensation. So that these are few methods that one can rest on. Then now coming back to so that is the main part here of the practice, which says grant your blessing so that the path may clarify confusion. So this way, gradually we work towards resting the mind, and through this we are able to develop clarity, through which then awareness, clarity, mindfulness, through which confusion is gradually eradicated, and then Now the practice of meditation is so many, like when we do, for example, some deity practice also same. When we are doing deity practice, then visualization, the creation of the deity, mandala, creation of the deity, self-visualization, front visualization, all that is the shamatha practice, so shamatha practice. And then, so this way, this is the shamatha practice mainly. Now the next is the lam tulbar shipar shinjalabdu soul. So, no, sorry. Tulba ishi sucharva shinjalabdu soul in the Gambopa's teaching. So, which means grant your blessing so that confusion may dawn as wisdom, or confusion may transform as wisdom. So, when we don't realize or recognize, then it is confusion. But when we, when we realize or recognize, then it is the wisdom. So for such practice, as I said, this is the vipassana practice. So vipassana practice is the practice of the resting on the emptiness, the nature. For example, when we analytically, when we do, then this I, we have this strong grasping onto this I as a reality. If you say, who are you? Then you say, I am so and so. So whose is this? This is mine. So we think my, I, this, and we really think this I or my is really there, somewhere. So we grasp onto this thing as a reality. But if we really examine where it is, so if we examine where is this I, so is it? Is your hand I? No. Because if hand is I, then is the I the fingers? No. Because if the finger is not there, still you are there. And if the hand is I, it's not. Because the hand doesn't define on the I. Then whether the I is your head, it is not your head. So that way, if you examine in your entire body, whether the I lives here, there, if you examine one by one, you will find that I is not any individual, kind of independent part of you. Yet it is. Yet if you say the I, then you cannot find I anywhere. So if you say then I is not there, then who's saying it is not there? Who's examining where the I is? Who's doing all that? So that way, then it is beyond. Like this or like that. It is beyond a limitation of, either has to be there or either has not, has to be not there. So it is beyond that. So that is called emptiness. The nature of emptiness. Another way of understanding is, so when we say emptiness means, for example, this mala. So we say mala. What is a mala? Mala is many beads. The many beads put together, strand in a string, then this whole thing is called a mala. But is mala the bead? No, because if we open the bead, then one by one, if we ask, it is the bead, it's not the mala. Then if the string, is it a mala? No, without the bead, the string is not the mala. So what is a mala? Mala is nothing but the string, the bead, everything put together, something, then we call this a mala, then we call such a thing a mala. Otherwise, if it was really a mala, permanent mala, then without the string, it should be still a mala. Without the bead, it should be still a mala. But it loses its identity when it's removed that way. Then same way the bead also. If you examine what is a bead, if you go deeper into it, it is a particle. Many particles put together. So put together, in certain shape, it's called a bead. But if the bead was real, then whether it is you break into particle or not, it should always remain a bead. But when you examine, break into minute details, then it loses its identity as a bead. So that way it is just a kind of assembly of things put together and then called it such and such, became that. So it is empty of empty of a reality or a limited fixation of anything. So it means that Emptiness doesn't mean nothingness. People think emptiness means then it should not be there. Yet I can see, then what is that? So it doesn't mean that. Emptiness doesn't mean you don't have to see. The very nature of this is, as we examined, it is, when we see, it is there, but if we examine, it is, what it appears and what the reality is different. The reality of everything is emptiness, but appear as, whatever, so that way, so it is beyond like this or like that. So everything is now this way. So when we examine this way, then we find, gradually when we examine like for ourselves also, the mind. What is the mind? So mind is the, as I said, we say the mind is a continuum of, the moments. So that is mind. So when we say the continuum of moments, then what is moment? Moment is then time. Past, present, and future. And then when we break that, as we saw that time, then it boils down to emptiness. So that way the mind, if we break down, it breaks down to emptiness. Yet emptiness, who is saying then it is emptiness? Who is saying this mind is emptiness? It is the mind. It is, so it is not emptiness as a nihilist emptiness. It is emptiness here is actually not equal to nihilist. Emptiness which equals to limitless possibility. So that is emptiness which equals to it is the interdependent nature, the nature of interdependent. That is emptiness. So emptiness is the interdependent nature of everything. So everything dependent on many factors creates something, but by itself, it is empty. So that kind of emptiness. So therefore, now when we examine that, and then when we come to this understanding of emptiness, then resting in this very, understanding of the emptiness. So analytically, meditating on emptiness this way, and then when we get to some kind of understanding of this emptiness, then in that, when we rest in this emptiness, then that is the state of the practice of the vipassana, and then gradually that becomes deeper and deeper, and then the state of emptiness, the understanding of emptiness, as I say, will develop. So that is one. Another way of doing such meditation, which is effective, is when we do say practice of calling the guru or the guru yoga or so like this, then we develop, as I said, sincere devotion to guru or Buddha or whatever, and then through that sincere devotion of the guru or to the guru or Buddha, then in that state of 100% pure sincere devotion, at that moment you are completely free from this grasping onto this I. You are free from that kind of a limitation of mine, I, me, all that. You are completely filled with purity. And in that state of pureness, in that state of limitless nature, because that is the limitless nature of ourself, the mind. So in that limitless nature, when that manifests through this through this development of devotion, purity, sincerity, in that, then you just rest in that. So when you rest in that, the experience of this, so gradually one experiences that, and then clarity is born through that, and then one can taste this kind of this vipassana, or the wisdom of the emptiness. So that is the shamatha vipassana practice. And when we do like practice of like the deity practice and all that, then when everything what we have created, everything dissolves into one another, and then that dissolves into you dissolve into the heart syllable dissolves into emptiness, and then in that emptiness you remain in the non-dual state of non-dual So that is this practice, of the vipassana. So you maintain this non-dual state, and then of course, this doesn't remain all the time. Again, a thought comes, then you that thing. So like this, so again and again, one can do this practice. So that is the vipassana practice. So that is the. So when you do that, and then now, for example, tulpa issues. So when not recognized, it's a say afflictive emotions. A limited thing as these afflictive emotions. When recognized as wisdom, I give you an example of, let's say, emotions such as what do you say? Anger, jealousy, ignorance, whatever. Whatever, all of us are different, So we have our own, weaknesses. Of course, we all have our afflictive emotions, all, have certain level of jealousy, certain level of hatred, certain level of attachment, certain level of, all of us have, But from that also, some of, we have something that is our weakness, we have. So we know what is our weakness, nobody can know, but we know. So what one can do, such practices, of course, in our day-to-day life, we face, all these conditions. Supposing somebody irritate you, then you get angry. So anger manifests automatically. Or you like something a lot, then you have this attachment to that. The attachment or the greed or attachment. So that manifests. So that can experience happen. And then if somebody that you like, then someone else gets something, then you feel jealousy. So that jealousy manifests. So that way, so in such situation, then directly you can do the practice. So but when you are just sitting there and not much like this, then you can develop whichever strongest in you. So you just think of that and try to experience that. And when that happens, now normally what we do, as I said, when anger, somebody irritates you, you get angry. Then on that anger, then you add on to that, right? Then you start seeing the faults of this other person. You start seeing, he did like this, he did like that. Why should he do that to me? I didn't do anything to him. Then it multiplies. So that is how we get more and more angry, and we hold, and grudge, and then it becomes, more and more. So now, if the anger, the reality of the anger, if the anger was a permanent, a real, truly existing, kind of a thing, then it should be angry all the time. If somebody angers us, we should be angry forever then. We should never be able to let go of anger. But no matter how angry we are, how long can the anger stay? Even if we don't think about anything, the anger might stay for, even if we, in a normal way of, dealing with the anger, it might stay for a week. It might stay for a day, it might stay for a week, it might stay for a month. Even if you try your best, then it might stay for a year or two, and after some time, then you gradually forget. So that itself also shows that anger by itself is powerless. It's unless we keep attaching to it and trying to create things to it. Anger by itself is it's not able to sustain its identity, because it doesn't really have any. Now, so that is an example, or that is a proof. Now, when we such practice, when we have anger, now instead of trying to get drowned in a river by anger, getting carried away by the anger, you look at the anger itself. When somebody irritates you, don't kind of add to that, but rather you sit back and look at the very nature of the anger itself. Anger comes, look at the anger itself without any without any other things. Just look at it, observe it. Look at the very nature of the anger itself. Rest on that, and when you rest on the very nature of the anger itself, it has nowhere but to dissolve into the emptiness itself, because it has no identity. It is just an illusion. So it loses its power. When you get very angry, upset, instead of adding to that by creating thoughts of, like this and like that, just sit back, don't do anything. Sit back and look at the very nature of the anger and rest in that. The very anger itself, just watch that, rest in the essence of the anger, nature of the anger, and just there. Don't add things to that. Just like how we rest in the breath, just rest in this anger itself and look at the very anger itself, rest in this. And the anger has nowhere but to dissolve into its very nature of emptiness. It has no effect. So same way with jealousy, anger, pride, everything. So you do that. So that way it dissolves into the emptiness. So therefore, if one learns to do that, then everything, everything is perfect at all times. Everything is everything is emptiness by nature. Everything is perfect at all times. Everything is limitless potential. So therefore, if we just let things be as it is perfect at all times. But we are so used to, not letting things be as it is, and we are so used to creating confusion and making things complicated for ourselves, and then we get, upset that we are complicated. So we complicate ourselves and get upset that we are complicated. So here now, if we are let things be as it is, everything is perfect at all times. So here we learn to do this in this. So everything as it is, learn to remain in this. So you can practice like that. So in your day-to-day life, anger, jealousy, these are things which always we face. And then even attachment, good things we are attached to, then too much attachment also gives suffering. So instead of trying to always, go under the influence of that, try to look at the very nature of that, and then it has nowhere but to, dissolve into the emptiness itself. So like that, so we can practice this. So like that, okay. So we practice. Now with this, then the entire practice, as I said, right? So when we are able to do this practice, then gradually we develop, true insight into the emptiness. The first, like this meditation, then gradually, genuinely taste the emptiness nature, and then you become one with this, and then that is complete enlightenment. So now, right, starting from turning your mind towards the Dharma, with the the four reminders, then the refuge and all that, to the accumulation of merit, and then to the main practice of the shamatha practice of meditation, and then the vipassana practice of meditation, and then to the complete realization of the emptiness, the ultimate truth. So that way, so this 4 sentence of the Gampopa's teaching comprises the entire teaching of the Buddha. Entire Dharma is comprised in this. One can practice just by doing these 4 lines. You are practicing the entire Dharma. So that way. So today, so in this short 2 session, we went through the entire teaching of Buddha. So yeah, so you can do this practice. You can do that, and then tomorrow I hope to be able to go through the the 8 verses of the mind training. A very profound teaching, as we see today. The confusion is created through our mind, and the most important is the practice of the loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta, and turning the mind away from negative to positive. So for this, then training the mind. The mind is the most important. We perform action through our physical door, body, speech, and mind. And out of these 3, then the mind is most important, because the mind leads the body and the speech to do what it does. So if we are able to train the mind, or if we are able to direct the mind towards the positive side, then the body and the speech also follows that. So even if the body and speech, we see it as a positive action, but if the mind behind that is negative, then it is not a positive action. So therefore the mind is very important. So training the mind, or cultivating right mind is very important. So we can go through the mind training, which is very precious teaching, and then with that, then in the afternoon we can do there's a very precious teaching of the Atisha to how to, how to practice with one's, or how to put instruction on mind, how to care for one's mind, or what to do, what not to do. So that is it is very precious teaching which I always carry with myself and do. So I would like to share with you that. So that we'll do tomorrow. Okay. So today we end here and we do the dedication. To second line, okay? So page number 32, second line. Sanam de thamje zebani thobne nyebe ranam phamje ne chega nachi balap tubai sibe tsole ro sho jambala pal chedra chemba dang kundu zambo teyan tejin te da gunje jesu dalo gewan da thamje rabdo ho gewan de jewo kun sunam yeshe tsozone sunam yeshe lejong tamba guni tobara sho sangji kusum nibe shinlab tang chuni minjiran dembe shinlab tang gendun michi dumbe shinlab chi Chidrang hoa malam drupara sho gewa de nyurdoda chaja chembo drupjurni droa chijang malipa te sarla gumbara sho chanchu semne rimbo che maje panam chejur jik jeba nyamba meba tang kone kondo telvara sho namji dorje denji zimizir junin zebe vechim marbu u chamchen juji nima charve tse dajang kurji to jevara sho om benzer saddo samaya manumbalaya benzer saddo tinoba Tikta Drido Membawa Sudo Kayo Membawa Subo Chayo Membawa Anurado Membawa Sarva Siddhi Metrayat Sarva Karma Sudzame Tirtam Shiriya Guru Hong Ha Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tatha Gada Banzar Mahamimza Banzarambawa Mahasamaya Sado